Hey friends, this is John Klein the third, and we're going to continue episode 200. And we're going to review Marvel Zombies Halloween, by far my favorite Marvel Zombies project. And then we're going to do a big order of comics for the special 200 episode. X-Men Book of Revelations 1, Radioactive Spider-Man 1, The Last Wolverine 1, Omega Kids 1, Jeff the Land Shark 5, Predator Kills the Marvel Universe 3, Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion 5, Miles Morales Spider-Man 39, and Spider-Girl 5. Those last two are going to be pretty quick. But let's kick off Halloween with Marvel Zombies Halloween. This came out December 2012 and was brought to us by Fred Lemvente, the writer. Artist is Alexandro Vetti. Colorist Jean Francis Bayou. Letter VC's Corey Pettit. Cover artist by Francisco Franizvella. And assistant editor John Mosian, editor Bill Roseman, editor-in-chief Axel Alonso, chief creative officer Joe Quesada, Dan Buckley, publisher, and executive producer Alan Fine. And the issue opens up. Oh, and you can follow along on my TikTok or YouTube channels at Jackal SII. Episode or issue opens up with awesome zombies attacking a house and being sniped by the legendary heroine herself, Kitty Pryde. And they're hearing things within the walls as we meet Kitty Pryde's son, who will get named later for dramatic reasons. And then she takes out her submachine gun and starts blasting away at the doors. And she says, "You dirty little," and the son says, "Mom, bad word," which is as funny as Kitty. She's not a stranger to bad words. And then they find they now have a new cat that the son wants to name Blackie, which is a very original name. And then we find out today's date is October 27th. And for some reason, like 5 months, 10 days to Dad's birthday. Which 10 days will be September 6th. Computer just did something weird on me. Are we still recording? We are. We're good. We're good. And so we now know Colossus's birthday is September. No, November 6th. But then he's noticing on the calendar it says something called Halloween. And then Kitty has to explain that it's a holiday and that they've clearly not celebrated in this kid's 6 years. And Kitty does not want to celebrate anything as what's to celebrate. They're trying to survive day in and day out. But then he gives her some sad eyes and she agrees and he dresses up as Uncle Wolvie, which is pretty cute. Just had a kid-sized Halloween costume around. He's a little upset that she couldn't find a Spider-Man, but Wolverine was her hero, so that's why he went with that costume. And I do like how she looks very much like Laura Croft here. So like a pair of booty shorts, a cool belt of mini pouches, and a too small white blue t-shirt, hair in a ponytail, which feels like Laura Croft, right? And then Blackie's outside. Oh man, I keep getting like a Charlie horse. It's irritating. And so he chases after the cat. This was Marvel was doing the Susan G. Coleman Cure promotion. So that's nice to get a little Captain America Iron Man mini comic. He's looking around for his cat. He comes across this older gentleman, so clearly Um, they were not the only non-zombies in town. Since he's knocking on the door, he wants to know if you can get some candy, but the guy's like, "That's tomorrow," which I'm still haunted by the time we were living in a apartment and a little girl knocked on the door, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, we don't have any candy." Then my wife immediately was like, "No, we have candy. Just you could have given her anything." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess that's true." Like, not to brag, but there's usually some candy. I mean, sometimes it's a candy no one wants, like at the back bottom of a bag, but um, yeah. Anyway, so I still think about that. Where I'm like, dang it, that little girl had to walk all the way up those stairs and then come all the way down. Like they didn't have any candy. Like, oh, I I could have had some candy. And then um Peter, we learn the kid's name is, and then he's still chasing Blackie, and then gets attacked by a zombie squirrel. That's odd. And then before he can get bit, like we see a very particular detail that only his top of his shoulder pad gets bit, and then Runaway's very own Caroline Dean grabs him and flies off. And then Buddy Greg, friend of the show, one of his favorites, Darkhawk, shows up and attacks Caroline. And then Gentile shows up and they smell fresh flesh. And then we get the answer to why there was a zombie squirrel is zombie squirrel girl and Alex from Power Packs here, which must have been awkward as Caroline and Julie Power have an on again, off again relationship. And so they got young Peter captured. Also, Avengers is coming to Blu-ray, so that's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure we own it on Blu-ray. And then before anything can really happen, Alex gets sniped as Kitty Pryde has finally caught up to her kid. And she phases through the prize phase through the high school wall. They get surrounded by zombie squirrels as they've still got others to deal with. And then Kitty came armed with her machine gun and starts blasting Gentile away, leaving just Darkhawk and Caroline. And then they all get burned up by Mephisto because he was very popular in these days. And then he asks if Kitty wants to make a deal, and she says, "No, dog." Not an exact quote, but um, but when he comes next, he will make you an offer of mutual benefit. And then the issue ends with them back home just trying to recoup from a disastrous day. Kitty does say that his father was the best and most noble person I ever knew, so that's good for him to hear. And even though it's the wrong holiday, Halloween does come with its miracles as she found Blackie and then put him in a bucket because she couldn't find any candy as I imagine candy is one of the first things that stops getting produced once a zombie breakout happens. And that, everyone, is Halloween Marvel Zombies Halloween. And let's see, I bought this from Mile High Comics in good condition, but as far as I can tell, I didn't see anything wrong with it. So tough grader, but the good copy means I bought it for closer to cover price. So, you know, bully for me, which is an odd expression, right? Bully for. So now we're going to get on to current comics of last week. Um, we're gonna be releasing this. Well, this is on Halloween, but so Recognizing Comics came out this week, but we will do those in the next episode. X-Men Book of Revelations 1. So spoilers for last week's comics. Jim McKay's writing the series, so it's immediately a must-read title of the event. Not only that, but we do finally get confirmation of who is the Spirit of Philadelphia. Issue opens with Elbecca, who is a new member of Doug Ramsey Revelations team of Corsairs. Fabian Cortez, of course, is immediately threatened by a little girl. He tries to scare her about how there's a ghost that haunts the Corsairs. Apocalypse isn't thrilled with Doug ruling America and not in his name, so he sends death and not war. His children, I mean, which does seem to be sending the same message. Cortez, the jerk, throws Elbecca off the roof, only to have the ghost of Philadelphia catch her. But don't worry, Elbecca, you are in the very safe hands of Kitty Pryde, everybody. Which we all sort of knew was the who the ghost was, but it would have been nice to just have that be told ahead of time. I care when Kitty Pryde's in this, right? Pre-orders, sales just go up. Who we knew had to be the ghost in her permanent phasing mode, or at least mostly phasing mode. And Albecca, like Cortez, has the power to enhance powers. So Kitty just needed someone to give her a little boost to solidify. Radioactive Spider-Man 1. It was nice to read a new Spider-Man comic and written by Joe Kelly too. I thought he was Cecilia Reyes' co-creator, but that honor goes to Scott Lobdell. Spider-Man is these tiny arm thingies and some full arms with hands coming out of his sides. I thought we would get a joke about how difficult it is to put on his shirt, but we don't. Makes sense X years later that he'd be used to it by now, but he also could have made an offhand or multi-hand comment about it. He defeats some goons, goes home to his lady, Dr. Cecilia Reyes, and gets another treatment of radiation. He's holding off the virus X, but needs more and more radiation to keep virus X away. Thus, his many side arm thingies. There's an alert. A lab is under attack. They refer to as the other lab, so Peter has to go. So now I keep expecting to see a classic Spider villain. He gets there. Some marauders are breaking into the lab. These are just goons going by the name Marauders, so I don't love that. It is a Mr. Sinister lab, so now I'm starting to think that how fun it would be for Radioactive Spider-Man to meet Sinister Six, as he knows Black Cat and Venom, so it seems like a natural fit. And he knows a quarter of the team already. Issue ends reveal that, of course, Aunt May's alive this X years later. So that's exhausting, but it's good for Dr. Cecilia Reyes to meet his aunt. Um, Whenever Joe Kelly gets mentioned, I went to two San Diego Comic Cons, one in 1998 and one in 2001, and or maybe 2002 because we were shown a clip of Doc Ock coming off of the hospital bed of his arms for Spider-Man 2, and it was like premiere material being shown. And that year, or one of those years, Joe Kelly was the X-Men Deadpool writer. And so he was doing signings, and I was like, "Hey man, I love your X-Men book work, but I really love Deadpool." And as if I said a magic word, Joe Kelly reached under the table for a box, and I pulled up the recent Deadpool comic and just gave it to me. And like as if at that time Deadpool wasn't the red hot character, like he was clearly the hot X-Men writer, but you know, if you like Deadpool on the side, sure. And so I got two comics signed by him that day and a free Deadpool comic, so that was pretty fun. And so I always appreciate Joe Kelly after that. Um, oh, I'm here doing something weird. Hopefully I'm not losing the recording. No, we're still good. Okay. The last Wolverine. I like getting to know Leonard from Wolverine Volume 8, The Good Wendigo. He's the hero of Vancouver, so that's nice. He saves some people and goes to visit a very good friend, Nightcrawler, who is very white, like we saw from the High Evolutionary story, two-part story where he turned off all mutant powers everywhere. Uh, though we've seen covers where he gets blue again. Not making him blue is Mackenzie from Gail Simone's current Uncanny X-Men run. I do love seeing people using toys from her toy box. They have a kid, but don't worry, Mackenzie's two older teens are fine. They're off doing teenager things, so that's reassuring. We get a flashback to when Leonard meets Logan, and I immediately get excited to learn what a pre-mind controlled Logan was like. Except this is very pre. This isn't pre mind control. Rutro, Leonard got stabbed and Logan leaves. Issue ends with Vindicator saying she can save her husband, so those two deserve each other. Omega Kids number one, story time. So I have never been a huge Quentin Quire fan. I read Morrison's X-Men run as an omnibus, so I missed out on a bunch of it when it first came out. No Kitty Pryde would do that to a legendary run. I got to know Quentin Quire and Jason Aaron's Wolverine and the X-Men that I love until Battle of the Atom, where Kitty officially leaves Logan's side and joins Cyclops and Magic and Emma. Then I lose track of him as I didn't really read X Force or Wolverine during the Krakoa era. So I didn't read him monthly and get into McKay's current Alaskan X-Men run. So this is all to say I don't have much connection to him, thus wasn't really looking forward to this series. But now I've heard all of Cerebro's 8 hours episode with the X-Men Scott Free that I'm ready for more Quentin Quire in my life. I went as far as to go to the My Comic Shop's eBay account and saw that with $50 I get most of the missing appearances of his I don't own, minus like the 2011 Marvel Holiday Special that I just ordered separately, and Gambit Volume 517. And so hopefully mid November I can treat myself to at least $20 worth of comics and see which ones I get. Most appearances are from Generation X Volume 2 and a handful of Krakoa appearances with Kate Pride and Magic. So I was pretty ready for this issue. It introduces the most new characters in any of these Age of Revelation series thus far. Quire has a class of 5 telepaths that are all used to take out threats to Doug before they happen, Minority Report style. We see Phoebe Cuckoo, one of the 3 surviving Cuckoos, so I'm hoping Mindy is one of the other 2. Unless we can't trust that description box, as it turns out Quire was never talking to her, as the kids are clearly tricking him into believing they're on Doug's side and controlling his perception. Rachel's supposed to show up next issue, so hopefully we learn that his students are actually her students. Then we get Jeff the Landshark 5. This was such a fun conclusion. Magic and Dr. Voodoo are trying to fight off Jeff's 2 shadow sharks. Wanda's trying to contain them. A dinosaur follows the sharks, so Magic and Dr. Voodoo teleport him back to the Savage Land. While in the Savage Land, Magic gets a great idea what to do next and grabs Rogue. Gwenpool, in a very great use of the character, calls out that clearly Magic thought Savage Land, then immediately thought of Rogue in her Savage Land bikini. Jeff doesn't want to force the shadow, so the heroes give up a pinch of their shadows each, and Magic fills up the rest of the shadow of Limbo Demon shadows, and Jeff is made whole again. I like that we're getting more Magic and Rogue content, as I feel like they barely know each other until the From the Ages era started. They would have been around each other during Rogue's early X-Men days, but Magic was off with the New Mutants, so they missed each other. Predator kills the Marvel Universe 3. Predators are doing what they do. Logan makes it to the X mansion that is burning. Xavier's dead corpse is thrown through the front door. Logan's worried he's never going to heal from this. Nightcrawler shows up and I immediately get concerned. We saw Cyclops get killed last issue, but I don't think just because the mansion's on fire that we should assume everyone's dead. Nightcrawler survives as he teleports Logan away. We see Avengers Towers burning, upsetting survivors, but I care more about the X Mansion burning. Issue ends with the reveal that Invisible Woman, the best Fantastic Four member, is still alive. Hopefully, we keep getting Living Mutants next issue. Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion 5. Miles finally gets caught up to Billy, his half-sister. Da Costa, Sunspot's father, has her, but Magic is annoyed by his clear betrayal of Maker's council, and they fight. I hate when New Mutants have to fight their fathers. Da Costa starts giving Sugarman face as Miles knocks him out. The Ultimates show up and Magic's more annoyed by Da Costa than with them, but still decides to leave as she doesn't have time for any of this nonsense. Miles finds a tube that restores all of his original Ultimate Universe memories. He mentions the X-Men in a list of other heroes, but at no point do we see Ultimate Shadowcat, which is highly disappointing. As how many montages of the original Ultimate Universe are we going to get? Miles tells Doom, who is the Ultimate Reed Richards, that the Maker was from Miles' original universe and his name was Reed Richards. So that's pretty shocking. Issue ends with Miles and Billy home in 616 with the original boxes, with some origin boxes. And a promotion is saying read Miles Morales Spider-Man 39 for more Fallout. So then I did read it. And it only has the last two pages dealing with the post incursion, where we see the origin boxes again, except now they look like boxes instead of just test tubes. And confirm that yes, they were gone for months, so Billy is bigger now. And lastly, we have Spider Girl 5, which a bunch of stuff happens before her final two pages. But I was just flipping through pages. She's an Unbreakable X-Men, and I thought I'll give this a read. And it's some nice synergy. Rogue shows up in the last two pages to confirm Spider Girl is a mutant, and there's a place for her, the X-Men, if she ever wants it. But before she can decide, Hawaii awaits. So that should be fun. Spider-Man spider action in Hawaii. I'm reminded of a Web of Spider-Man issue called storyline called what's it, like Mad Dog or something, where he ends up in like middle of America and has to take the bus everywhere as he can't web sling. So that's pretty fun. Next week we have Ex Parte X-Men 1, which I'm really looking forward to. This is in the order of what looking forward to. Emma Frost White Queen 5, X Avengers 1 with Danny Moonstar, Cloak or Dagger 1, Battle World 2, and Undead Pool 1. So my current AO Age of Revelations rankings are Book of Revelation, Iron and Frost, Amazing X-Men, Overture, The Last Wolverine, Radioactive Spider-Man, Binary, Omega Kids, Unbreakable X-Men, Laura Kinney Sabretooth, Rogue Storm 1, Sinister 6 1, Age of Revelation 0, and Longshots and World Revelations. So there's a real top tier, mid tier, and other running books. And then we got the January solicitations, and I highlighted what I'm getting for sure, which consists of Ultimate Wolverine 13, which doesn't mention the oppression, so I'm really worried that Ultimate Sprite's dead. But Magic's on the cover, and the universe is coming to an end in like couple months after January, so I'm like, might as well finish it out. Luna Snow World Tour 1 that has Magic on the main cover. X-Men 23, where we deal with one of the X-Men coming from the days of Age of Revelations to the present, which I can only imagine it's Beast because no one would care if it's Cyclops. Or no, no, no. I can only imagine it's Beast coming to the AOR Beast went to the present, as no one would care if present day Cyclops came back and Beast was stuck in the future. Like we would just shrug. I did notice Vizicio's team variant covers continue of X-Men. So he did Uncanny, then he did Avengers, now he's doing X-Men. And his Psylocke is pretty tempting for issue 24. And then we get Sorcerer Supreme 2, which is an ongoing, I suppose. Um, Hopefully Magic shows up on one of these variant covers, and hopefully DCBS can show us the covers by the time November comes around where you got to order these books. But I don't know, it just seems like I'm missing so many cool covers that I would have loved to have pre-ordered when I could have. Marvel Rivals the Cities of Heaven 1. So Marvel found a way for me to buy more Luna Snow in my life by putting her in Magic stories. And then the Amalgam title Spider Boy Team Up, which is my favorite Amalgam title. It has the amalgamation of Shadowcat, Kitty Pryde with Phantom Girl to create Phantom Cat. And we get the DC version, and then due to time travel hijinks, the Marvel version. So I think that's the order. Anyways, amazing Jose Ladrone cover or art, who's my favorite Cable artist, and then written by Carl Kessler and Roger Stern. So pretty great. And then on the DC side is the reprinting of the two Spider-Man Superman crossovers. They're expensive though, like $18 and $17. So I'm tempted to treat myself to the classic crossover trade paperback that puts those together with the Hulk Batman crossover and then the legendary Teen Titans X-Men crossover. So I don't know. I found a copy on eBay for 18 bucks where I'm like, well, that's the price of one of those. So I'll probably treat myself to that. I'm watching it in hopes that the eBay seller just goes like, "Hey, I'll give it to you right for a discount," because that's how you get me to buy anything. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching or listening for 200 episodes. I'm very excited about the next 100. So thank you, everyone, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, everyone, bye.